Hi, my name is Miss Seaver. I'm one of the teachers here for ASL. I just want to give you some information about our program here at ETHS. We have about 250 students who take ASL here, so you have a lot of opportunity to use your language with your friends and people in the building. Most colleges and universities accept ASL as your foreign language credit, so think about that when you're going to college. ASL is the third largest used not English language in the United States. ASL has a lot of memorization, but you can use it in the community from the beginning of ASL 1, which is awesome. So hopefully we'll see you next year in one of the ASL classes here at ETHS. Bye.
Hi, 你们好. I'm Miss Larson. I teach Chinese at ETHS. And if you like to take Chinese, you'll learn lots of things about the Chinese culture, arts. You'll try different foods and the different places in China. There's lots of places that are very interesting in China to go to. For example, I've touched a cloud by climbing a very high mountain in China. In the Chinese class here, we'll be playing games. We're learn songs, we will do skits, we'll do role play in order to learn the Chinese language. It's really not too hard. So I think you can do it and you might find it very interesting. Try it out. 谢谢.
Bonjour.
Je m'appelle Madame Turac.
Et je m'appelle Madame Dorman.
Je m'appelle Madame Romanelli.
Nous parlons français. Do you know anyone else who speaks French? Chances are you do. Did you know that French is the official language of more than 25 countries and is spoken in more than 50, such as
La France, Haïti, le Canada.
And that French is the fourth most commonly spoken language in the United States. And did you know that if you speak English, you're already speaking French? More than 20,000 words in English are of French origin. Learning French can open doors to an amazing world of opportunities.
Did you know that France is the fourth largest producer of cars in the world? It is also a major research center in the fields of high-energy physics and aerospace. And not to forget tourism. France is the most visited destination in the world, with over 80 million tourists every year. And speaking of tourism, if you speak French, it opens doors to many other cultures. Because I spoke French, I was able to travel to countries such as France, Haiti, Canada, and Madagascar, where we saw real lemurs.
So what are you waiting for?
Guten Tag und willkommen. The German program at ETHS is a 4-year program that also offers an AP course. Chances are you already speak some German. English and German are highly related to one another. English is a Germanic language, and about 40% of English words actually have their roots in German. For example, the word house is Haus, the word for book is Buch, and the word for finger is Finger. So a lot of students have found that learning German is more manageable because of its relationship to English. In addition, there are about 100 million native speakers of German around the world. In German, we don't just say goodbye, we say Auf Wiedersehen, which means until we meet again. So I'd like to say to you Auf Wiedersehen, and I would hope very much to see you next year in my German classroom.
Shalom, I'm Miss Siegel and I'm the Hebrew teacher at ETHS. And here I have some students who will tell you why you should take Hebrew.
Taking Hebrew is like having your own family at ETHS.
Hebrew is spoken all around the world today, even though it's a very ancient language and it's thriving.
We get to bake a lot of food and sing a lot of songs.
You don't have to be Jewish to take Hebrew because it's applicable to everyone. In Hebrew class, we don't just learn about Hebrew, the language, but we also learn about Israeli culture, and it's really fun and interesting.
So I hope to see you because Hebrew is swag.
Hajime mashite. Bankre desu. This is a typical room in Japan with the tatami mat, and this is our classroom right here with all of our folders. I'm very excited to welcome you to our program. A lot of people are a bit tentative and hesitant about starting a language with a different writing system and sounds so different from everything else, but I want to encourage you to start from the beginning. It is a wonderful language, a lot of interesting aspects, the culture is really fascinating, and I take it at a pace that makes sense. I myself lived in Japan for 3 years, and I learned all of my Japanese from living in Japan and working. Just give you a little sample of things. For example, people are like, there are no cognates, but simple fruits like pineapple become pineapple, or bananas are banana. So there's a lot of borrowed words that we have in our language, so you do have a lot to go off of even if you are an English speaker. Even if you're a non-English speaker, there are only 5 vowel sounds, a, I, u, e, o. What you say is what you see, and what you see is what you write. It's a very straightforward language that way. It's just a lot of fun to explore and see. I hope you enjoy it. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
Salve omnes, I'm Magistra Green and this is Magistra Wickham, and we teach Latin here at ETHS. And Latin is not a spoken language, so it's different than all of your other choices. But we do have tons of derivatives that come from Latin. In fact, 90% of our words in English that are 2 or more syllables come from Latin, and overall 50% of our vocabulary. And here are some roots that you can see that probably you can figure out what they mean just upon your experience in English or in other Romance languages, coming from Rome, so hence coming from Latin.
All right, and we also in Latin tend to focus on not on spoken language, right? So we're not taking oral exams, but we do get to read about mythology, culture, and history, as well as focus on vocabulary and grammar.
And in fact, many of our students that take Latin will say that one of the things that they've really enjoyed about our program is how well they get at writing English. And English teachers here have even said, I can really tell a Latin student because they really have a good grasp of the English language.
In fact, Latin students tend to do very well in their SATs, their ACTs, and like Ms. Green said, tend to do really well in their English classes.
So we hope to see you next year taking Latin at Evanston Township High School. Walete!
Wale!
Hola, soy señorita Sullivan.
Y yo soy señora Suleimani.
Y somos profesores de español aquí en ETHS.
And we are here to tell you guys some reasons for why you should take Spanish at ETHS.
Señora Suleimani, I love that quote you have up in your classroom. El mundo no es tan grande si hablas español.
Yes, that means the world isn't that big when you speak Spanish.
It's true. There are 21 countries where Spanish is the official language. I've traveled to 5 of them, and I love being able to speak the language of the place I was traveling in.
Yeah, and even if you're not traveling, just here in the United States, Spanish is the 2nd most used language. More Spanish-speaking people in the U.S. than there are Chinese, French, German, Italian, Hawaiian, and native languages combined.
And that number will continue to grow.
Yes. What I loved most about learning Spanish was learning about the different cultures, food, music, and celebrations around the Spanish-speaking world.
I love all of those things too, and it's easy to bring them into the classroom. There are so many authentic opportunities to use the language, which makes taking Spanish so much fun.
I agree. And learning Spanish can be challenging, and it is. Our students work really hard, but it's well worth the effort.
Adios!
Hasta pronto!
Étudier une langue.
Étudier le français.
Lern eine Sprache, lern Deutsch.
תלמדו שפה. תלמדו עברית.
国語を勉強して日本語を勉強してください。
Studiatis linguae?
Studiatis Latinae.
Estudian un idioma, estudian el español.